So you're gonna see me doing different, every time I finish question, especially a long question, I'm going to stop it and then resume and restart, okay? So in that way, I can have different short videos to post on the, so it's easier for you to get into the things you want to watch, right? Okay, so let's work on this question. So this is a question. ABC is a law firm, okay, that specialized in writing wills. Okay, its job costing system has one direct cost pool, okay, professional labor, okay, and a single indirect cost pool that includes all supporting costs of running the law office, right? So I think we all have some idea about what law firm is like, right? So the major cost would be the labor cost, right? Would be the time spent by the lawyers, right? That's the major cost, right? Other supporting cost would be what would be like paper, right? You know, computer, you know, ink, right? Those kind of indirect cost. And the support costs are allocated to clients on the basis of professional labor hours. So that makes sense, right? So for this business, the major cost driver is the labor hour of the lawyers, right? So this would be a good allocation base, right? In addition to the 2 senior partners at ABC, there are 6 associates who work directly with clients. Okay, so you want to be the partner. So, right, partner, they make more money, but they don't work as hard. So each of the 8 lawyers is expected to work for approximately 2,500 hours per year. Okay, you get the sense? So there are 2 partners, okay, they are the senior partner, and there are 6 associates, okay? So together, there are 8 lawyers, and each lawyer is expected to work for approximately 2,500 hours per year, okay? So we have some cost informations here, budgeted and actual cost, okay? So in their budget, they budgeted professional labor cost for $1.1 million. They budgeted support cost for $2 million. $2 million, okay? And the actual professional labor cost is 1.32 million. The actual support cost is 2.4 million, okay? And the actual total professional hour is 22,000 hours, okay? So that's the information we have. The first requirement is compute the direct cost rate and the indirect cost rate per professional labor hour, okay? So you are calculating the cost rate, right? And what's the cost base here? Does anyone know which base we are using? Muhammad? Samarin?
Labor hours.
Total professionals.
Yeah, professional labor hours. Okay. Yeah, good. So we are going to compare the 3 different costing, right? Actual costing, normal costing, and budgeted costing, right? So that's the 3 scenarios, right? So first, we are considering actual costing. This should be pretty understandable because just saying actual costing, what do you know? Which cost numbers should I use? Just by literally, when you read the actual, yes.
Actual.
Yes.
Actual.
So let's see. See, this is the actual, right? The actual numbers. So when I'm using the professional hours, I'm using the actual professional hours. That's the 22,000 hours, okay? And the actual professional labor cost, that's the direct cost, right? So the direct cost rate, I'm using the 1.32 million divided by 22,000. So worked out to be $60 per professional labor hour. Okay. Oops. So now this is the direct cost rate. Now, what is the indirect cost rate? Can anyone tell me how to calculate the indirect cost rate? Mikiko?
Yeah, so actual support costs divided by the cost driver of the 22,000 hours.
Yeah, very good, right? We are using the actual cost, right? This is actual costing. You use actual cost and actual hours. And remember the question we just did in the first question, we are saying the actual cost, it provides the accurate information, right? So now you are using 2.4 million divided by 22,000. So worked out to be $109.09. Are we okay with this? Anyone have any question?
Nope.
No? Okay. So this is pretty straightforward, right? This is the actual costing, okay? Now let's move on to the budget costing, okay? I'm going to do the budget costing first. Budgeted costing, just literally, right? Literally, what are the cost numbers should I use? Budgeted costing. AJ?
Yeah, the professional labor hours, the budgeted and support costs over their expected hours. So the 2,500 hours for the 8 lawyers.
Okay, very good. Thank you, AJ. So basically, this is the budgeted costing. I'm going to use all the budget numbers, okay? I'm not going to use any of the actual numbers. So the cost budget numbers, 1.1 for the direct cost, 2 million for indirect cost. And what is the budgeted professional hours? This 22,000 hours, this is the actual professional hours. What is the budgeted professional hours? And AJ was correct. Okay, AJ was correct. So basically, that number should be 20,000. How do we get that? We get it because, oops.
2,500 hours per year.
Yes, because there are 8 lawyers and each one is expected to work for 2,500 hours. So 8 times 2,500, that's how you get this budgeted hour, 20,000. So do we have any question on this budgeted costing? Can I move on?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So now let's take a look at the normal costing, okay? Normal costing is in the between, okay? So you know what's actual, you always use actual numbers. And the budget, you always use budget numbers. And normal is in the between, okay? Let's take a look. So basically, for direct cost rate, you use actual numbers, okay? For direct cost rate, that's the labor. Labor is a direct labor, right? That's the direct cost. You are using actual numbers. But for indirect cost, you use the budget, okay? For indirect cost, that's the support cost. You use the budget, okay? And again, the budget of professional hours is calculated by 8 lawyers times the 2,500 expected hours for each of them, okay? So you know what's actual, always use actual numbers, and the budget costing, always use budgeted numbers. But for normal costing, for direct cost, you use actual numbers. For indirect cost, you use budget numbers. Are we clear?
Yep.
Okay. So this would be how you analyze, you know, in the exams, right? You are practicing questions. You read these questions, the information. You have to be able to pull out those important informations, right? So here you have to key into this like budgeted, right? Actual, those keywords, and versus the eight lawyers and the 2,500 hours, right? So those are important information. Just You just have to learn how to analyze this question, and then being able to, get all the information you need, right? So do we have any questions? Mike Kiko?
Yeah, sorry. I was wondering, why is it called normal costing? Is it because it's usually this is the way that companies calculate?
I guess compared to actual versus budget, normal costing is not that straightforward, right? In terms of just the term, right? I don't have a good answer. This is just how the way direct cost you are following actual, indirect cost you are using budget, and they give a name normal. So I guess I don't have a better answer to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can I move on?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, now let's take a look at the second requirement. Okay, there's the will for Rich Takun Matthew Liu was very complex. It took 4 lawyers at the firm 500 hours each to prepare. What would be the cost of writing this will under each of the costing method? Okay, so we have already worked out on the read, right? So this you just use how many hours? Professional labor hours. So 4 lawyers times 500. So that'll be the 2,000, right? So you just use this read we figured out in the first step, and then you add them up, you figured out the total cost, right? So under actual costing, and 338,180, under normal costing, 320,000, under the budget costing, so that's 310,000. So do we have questions about how these numbers are calculated? So this read, Natasha.
Sorry, I don't know what happened before, but I meant to ask this at the beginning. Not that this matters, but I know we're doing 4-20, but how come yours says ABC and ours says MG? Like, are you using a different version?
It doesn't matter, just a different name. It's just a different name, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, but do you have a question with the numbers, the calculations?
Nope, I'm good with that.
Okay, good, yeah. Yeah, you would find that I use different names, so so just don't worry, right? That does not affect your solution, your approach, right? Yeah. Okay, so so then you are comparing, right? See, under different costings, the cost you figured out is different, right? Which one is more accurate, do you think? Which one? A? Yeah. Actual costing maybe is more accurate, right? Yeah. How close do you think these other 2 numbers to this actual costing? So, oops. Why? So compare. So 310,000 versus 338. The difference is not that big, right? And compare normal 320,000, right? It's not that big. So here, oops, what would be the cost rating under each of the method, right? So we figured out the number, and the actual costing will give you the more accurate numbers, okay? And then people will ask, right? So why will you always use actual costing? Did anyone have that question in your mind? If actual costing is provide accurate information, why
because
don't
it's not
people
timely.
It's
not timely. You'd have to incur the cost before you ever were able to report them.
Yeah, very good, Rin. That's exactly the answer I'm looking for, right? Actual costing, it will be not timely, right? Sometimes you can wait until the end of the period, right? To figure out the actual rate, and then apply it, right? So, okay, are we okay with this question? Can I move on to the next question?
Yeah.
So give me a sum up if you understand this question. 1, 2, 3, go.
Actual costing use actual budgeted. Oh,
Okay, good. This is also like a test of the attention, right? Because if people are distracted, they are doing something else. They don't know what I'm doing right now. Okay. Okay, so good. I think the majority understand. If you don't understand, or maybe it's you don't even bother to raise your hand, right? Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.